This service this morning, I feel like God spoke to me about this service. And it's going to be a testimony given here just in a minute or two. And after the testimony, I'm going to speak for just a few minutes. I ain't going to take too long. But I'm going to introduce to you a man that I had an honor to meet him here a few months back, Mathew, and I look at him like if he was one of my sons. I think I'm old enough to be his daddy, and I fall in love with him. What did I fall in love with him is about the spirit that is within him, of who he is. He's been redeemed. He's been redeemed. And I was sitting there, praying, meditating on God, and a lot of the things in my life that I went through it, and blah, blah, blah. And when you join or belong to a gang or something like that, they gotta think, you bleed in and bleed out. And somebody pays a price for you to be able to join whatever you join in. Somebody pays a price. And there's a lot of pain, there's a lot of suffering. And just because you want to belong to something. And God has spoke to me, and when I was sitting right there, Jesus said, I bleed out so he could become one of mine. And I thought to myself, my God, how many times, and I'm speaking for myself, we've done it for nothing. And now to the precious blood of Jesus, he bled out for us. At the moment when the soldier pierced Jesus' side, Mathew, at that moment the scripture tells us the blood and water begin to come down his side. When a woman is pregnant, when she's about to give birth, when new life is fixing to come for, what happens? When the water breaks, the blood mixes, new life comes forth. Wow. And at that moment that Jesus bled, the water and the blood was mixed. He bled out for us so we could have the right to be born again. Amen. And I belong to the greatest, you can call it whatever you want to call it, gain of the kingdom of God. Amen. And you know what, Mathew? We can go out in town. Remember, I don't know if you guys, a lot of you too young, and we used to say, we're going to go out and just paint the town. Amen. And we can't paint it all red now. And that's going to be with the blood of Jesus. Not with somebody else's blood. Not with our blood, but with the blood of Jesus. And listen to the words, to the testimony. And not just only what he went through, what is happening in his life, but listen and see what God can do. Amen. And at this time, I present to you one of my boys. Amen. Brother Mathew, come on, brother. Thank you, man.
Good morning, y'all. Well, 2 weeks ago, I stood up here on Sunday night, and I gave a brief testimony of myself. And Monday morning, when I went into work, I was running my press, and I was chastised. The voice was keep telling me, you didn't do what I told you to do. You didn't do what I told you to do. So I went over and I turned my press on. I turned it off, and I just stood there. I said, yeah, you're right, Lord. I didn't do what you told me to do. Today I'm going to do what he told me to do. You might not, I know some people might want to get out there early, but I gotta get it off my chest. My name is Mathew Durkin. I was born and raised in Columbus, Ohio. I had a great childhood. My dad and mom had a great house. Learned how to play baseball. Baseball was my passion. I love baseball from T-ball all the way up. My dad was basically out of town all week. He went, there was an ice cream place that called Drumstick Incorporated, and he went around the different states. And I was left, me, my brother, and my sister was left home with my mom the whole time. Well, as the years goes by, my mom became more involved with drugs. My dad didn't like it, so it ended up where they just was going to split up. They was going to divorce. They divorced. I remember being sat down with my brother and my sister. My sister was she was too young to even remember most things, but we was asked, who do you want to go live with? Well, I'm a mama's boy. I'm going to always be a mama's boy. I picked my mama. My brother and sister, they want to go with my dad. But at first, before we went to go, my brother and sister went to move with my dad had to find a place to live. So we all stayed with my mom. Well, my mom got further and further into drugs. She was bringing guys home, having relationships. I say guys now, but actually it was monsters. I can't tell you how many times that I've seen my mom get beat on to where I would have to get up and take the beating forward just so the guy would stop beating her. It just went. Eventually it got too much, and all three of us kids was sent to live with my dad. I didn't want to leave, but Dad said it was the right thing to do. So we went. My dad had got remarried, and the agreement was every weekend I was going to be able to call my mom, make sure everything was right. I would do good in school, keep doing baseball. As long as I was doing my thing, I was going to be able to call my mom. Well, this woman that my dad married decided that us three kids that didn't belong to her was going to call her mom. Well, sorry, I'm not calling her mom. I have one mom, and she's in heaven. And so eventually me and her got into it. My dad was out of town. He was called by my stepmom. Me and my stepmom got into it. He was called, and I was locked in my bedroom. I couldn't come out, period. The only thing I know is she was behind the door screaming, "Pack your bags, you'll never be here again." And I was happy with that. I'm going to my mama. I didn't care. So I got on a Greyhound bus. My dad bought me a one-way ticket to the Greyhound bus. Didn't give me any money for food for that. I think it was 11.5-hour ride from Calhoun, South Carolina, all the way back to Columbus. I didn't care. I didn't eat the whole time. Didn't have nothing to drink. But didn't care. I was going back to my mama. Got to Columbus, and my mom and my stepdad at the time met me at the Greyhound bus station. They took me, and I went to live with my grandmother when I first got there because my mom and the guy that was my stepdad was living with his mom. But like I said, I was there to live with my mother. I wasn't there to live with my grandmother. I wasn't there to live with anybody else but my mom. So eventually, I went to live with her. I slept on the floor. never had a bed, I slept on the floor and was fine with that. Went to school. I was always a straight A and B student, always. No matter what I got into, I always knew get in books and do the right thing. I picked up baseball there back in Ohio, and it was great. But at the whole time, my mother was heavy on drugs. I mean, this was just a routine basis. She was a drug addict. And she's the one that introduced me to marijuana. She's the one that introduced me to pills and told me, son, I don't care what you do, you can get high in this house, but if you take it outside the house, then I'm gonna have an issue. So eventually, I started smoking marijuana. I started taking pills. But I always kept my focus on baseball. That's all I wanted to do. My childhood, I never stepped in a church, never seen a Bible, period. There was never a Bible in my house at all. Even at my grandmother's house, there was never a Bible. There was many nights where I would go to play baseball or have baseball practice, and there'd be many nights where there wasn't no food at the house because my mom would take the welfare check and the food stamps and buy drugs with it. I don't remember. Okay. Well, back to my testimonies. Hope the brother's okay. I was introduced to drugs by my mother, but that wasn't me though. My passion was baseball. I remember playing baseball, and my grandmother, God bless her soul, she'd be in the stands. Actually, me and Tammy was walking through the park the other day, and I heard these people, this lady just screaming at the top of her lungs for her son that was out there playing. And I told Tammy, I said, that voice there, that was my grandma back in the day. That's my boy out there in center field. He's the best in Ohio. So I went, like I said, I was an A and B student. I went through school, got to high school. By my freshman year, I had 2 full scholarships to play baseball. Miami, Ohio, and Kent State University both gave me full rides. All I had to do was get to my senior year, and I was there. At the time, I was the 3rd best baseball player in Ohio. The only 2 that was above me was left-hand pitchers, and anybody that knows baseball knows if you're a left-hand pitcher, you're going to be the best. At 16, my mom was murdered. My mom was murdered by my stepdad. He actually broke one of those glass 2-liter Pepsi bottles and shattered it over her head repeatedly until the bottle was shattered completely. I was at my aunt's that weekend because I had got a summer job, my first job ever, and I had got my first paycheck. And I knew that if I went home with that paycheck, that whole weekend I was going to spend all that money on buying my mom drugs just to make her happy, to please her. So I went to my aunt's. That weekend was all right. Sunday morning, me and my aunt was up playing with my little niece, and my aunt gets a phone call, and she's like, "Here, this is for you." And it was the coroner from the coroner's office in Columbus, Ohio. They asked me my name, I told them my name, and they asked, "Well, we need you to come down here and identify your mom." I don't know why my grandmother or my aunt didn't do it, but now that I look back on it, even if they went, they couldn't identify it. Because the only way I could identify my mom was through a tattoo on her ankle, and it said my name, and it said "my loving son," and with my name on it. That's the only way that I can identify it. Her head was looking like the Elephant Man. That was June 29th, 1985. One of the worst days of my life, period. I lost my best friend. Yes, my mother was a drug addict, but that was my mother, and still to this day I love her. There's other things that she's done with my life, but I'm just choosing not to speak about that because I don't want to paint a bad light on her. My mom is in heaven, and that's where she's going to be. After that happened, I gave up baseball, I gave up everything, and became a drug addict. I became a drug addict because of the fact that I didn't want to face any of the pain of dealing with losing my mom. So I would rather hide behind in drugs, and I did every drug imaginable, period. And I'm not happy for it because it has effects on my body now, but it was just, I didn't want to deal with it. At 19, I went to prison. I went to prison for a 3-year sentence. I ended up doing 26 years straight. I ended up in September 8th, 1989, joining the Aryan Brotherhood. On that day, I took the blood-in oath and stabbed a guy over 50 times. Am I proud of it now? Absolutely not. But that's just how it had to go. I ended up with 25 assaults and 6 stabbing cases inside prison, and that's why I ended up doing 26 years. Because I had time added on to my sentence. Every time I beat somebody up, every time I struck a knife at somebody. But me as a person, when I'm into something, I'm in all the way. I don't half-blooded anything. Just like I'm a Christian. That's all that's important to me now. The brotherhood's not important to me now. My past prison life is not important to me now. My walk with Jesus is what's important to me. That's what's important in my life. And then my happiness with my wife, Tam. That's it. Other than that, nothing else matters. But know that I have obnoxious, racist tattoos on my body. I have 187 tattoos. And most of them are racist tattoos. And I will not cover them up. I will not cover up because it's my testimony. It's where I came from. I can walk into prisons these days, or any county jail, or anywhere, and talk to somebody, and they'll know that I've been there, done that. You have somebody that hasn't been there, done that, and come inside the prisons, and the guys in prison, they're not going to listen to them. So that prison life was mainly brotherhood. That's it. I didn't care about getting out. I didn't think I was going to get out. Because after so many assaults and so much time added on to my sentence, I didn't care about getting out. But one night, something was just telling me, and now I know what it was. Back then I didn't know what it was. It was the Lord telling me. He told me, go to the chapel, go to the chapel. Well, I never went to the chapel the whole time I was in prison. Because the chapel was known as gang activity meetings, homosexual activity, or people that just wanted to get out of their cell. Well, I went. You got to understand that at that time, I was the president of the Aryan Brotherhood for the whole state of Ohio. So anywhere that I went, anytime I went out of my cell, there was either 3 or 4 Aryan Brotherhood members that's around me. Because nothing was going to happen to me. And that's just the way it is. So that night, I went to the chapel. These 3 Aryan Brotherhood members had no choice but to go up there with me. But I didn't let them sit with me. They sat over on the other side of the thing, and they looked at me like, I I'm like, I'll be fine. I'm going over here. Because I didn't want to be, there was something else there. And Mr. Pete was there with a speaker. And I listened to this guy, and it was just hitting me like a ton of bricks, straight to my heart. Boom, boom. I went back to the cell after that meeting, sat down in my cell for about 10, 15 minutes, walked out, and I went to the vice president's cell because we just happened to be selling in the same block. And I shut the door behind me, went into the cell and I shut the door behind me, and I told him, I said, look, I'm not doing this no more. I said, I will blood out, but this is not my life anymore. I don't want no part of the Aaron Brotherhood. I'm taking another step. I'm going somewhere else in my life, and this is not what I want to do. So, it was agreed upon after many discussions that, because they wanted me to stab somebody to get out. But I wasn't willing to do that. I ended up beating some guy up. And I know I changed when, after I beat this guy up, I'm picking him up off the floor and like, I'm sorry, man, I'm sorry. In the past, I would have never picked this guy up. I probably would have put some more boots to him. But my heart had changed. My heart had changed completely. And it's not by my doing. Because for years, I was the monster that everybody said. In 1993, I was in the Lucasville riot. One of the longest riots in the U.S. history for 11 days. And I still, to this day, have nightmares about it. Actually, just the other night, I was on the couch asleep after work, and the wife she found this show on the riot. And I started watching it. Just reliving all this nightmare that I actually lived in. And it showed me, as I'm watching it, it showed me the man that I've become now. Because that man that was in there was a complete monster. 2.5, almost 2 years, 7 months, I've been out of prison. I haven't had one run in with the law. Besides, how you doing? Give me a call saying, hey, the kids that you're mentoring here in Charleston are in trouble. Would you come down and talk to them? I had never had that kind of interaction with the police. And never wanted it, actually. But those 6 kids that I was mentoring in Charleston, they counted on me. They counted on me to be there. And I was always there. I didn't care. Actually, me and Tammy was supposed to talk on Messenger that night. And I was gone the whole night. And I was at the police station with one of my kids, just shaking my head and trying to lead him to the right. Look, you don't need to do this because you're going to end up here. Okay, Mathew. Okay, I promise. And actually, my kids are doing good. All of them. Except for one. One's in jail for murder. But God will fix him. It's not my doing. God will fix him. I did what I was supposed to do. Since I've been out, I became a Christian. I was going to a Presbyterian church in Charleston. Presbyterian churches are, I call them Catholic because it's very ritual. You hear the same stuff every week. It's not a pastor like Jesse getting up here and preaching the word. It's just ritual stuff. And I didn't feel like that. When I walked through the door here for the first time, and when Tammy brought me here for the first time, you could feel the love of all of y'all. And for me to feel that, that speaks volumes. Because I'm a person that usually don't talk to nobody. Will sit back in the background and just look. Because 9 times out of 10, I can shake somebody's hand and I can read you like a book. I know what you're about, what your intentions are. And that's just after doing 26 years in prison. You could be a judge of that. But now, today, I'm a baby Christian. I don't claim to know everything in the Bible. But that woman there and Jesse, they'll get me to where I'm supposed to be with that Bible. And the main thing is the good Lord's going to get me there with that Bible. Because He told me just the other couple Sundays ago when I was bowed down over there, that I'm going to get you right. I'm going to get you right, Matthew. If you trust in me, I'm going to get you right. I trust Him. And I don't trust very many people. I can count them on one hand. That's where I am at today. A lot of people these days will look at me. Will see the racist tattoos. But rest assured, I'm not that white supremacist that you think I am. I'm that Christian man that y'all should be. I love each and every one of you, as y'all my brothers or sisters. I'm not a violent person. I'm actually one of the lovest, most caring persons that you ever meet in your life, if you could just get past the tattoos. I know the tattoos are a barrier, but hey, they're just coloring on my skin, that's all. Because I don't even see them nowadays. If my wife would approve it, I would get a big cross put on my forehead, because that's what it's about nowadays. But she's not going to approve it. We will talk about that later, though. On February 23rd of this year, I was happily married to this beautiful woman. In '85, I lost my best friend. In 2017, I gained my best friend. 18, sorry. I count on that woman for a lot of support because she sees everything that I go through in life. She sits down at the restaurants, she sees people get up, don't want to sit near me. She hears a little chipper chattering, and she's like, "Baby, don't even pay no attention." I said, "I'm out." Actually, we were sitting in IHOPs one morning. She came to see me in Charleston, and we went to IHOPs before she come back here to Kentucky. And there was this black couple that sat right across from us. I'm not paying them no mind. My concentration is on her, talking to her, having breakfast, minding my own business. Next thing you know, these people get up. And Tammy screams out, "Jesus saves." And I said, "You're right, Jesus saves." But don't get me wrong. I have moments. I am not perfect. By no means, shape, I'm not perfect. But what I am is a man that loves Jesus. I love Jesus more than anything in this world. That's all I want to do. I want to go into prisons. I want to go into jails. I want to help you not go down the same path that I went down. You don't have to be a part of a brotherhood. Be a part of Jesus' brotherhood. It's amazing. It's more fulfilling than anything I've ever done with Aaron Brotherhood. Than anything. And Jesse's going to help me with that. I know a lot of people look at me, and because I've done so many years in prison, maybe they think I'm violent. Maybe you think that I can't walk the right path. But apparently I can walk the right path because I've walked it for 2.5 years so far. And I'm going to continue to walk it. Because I have the Lord by my side. I have that beautiful woman by my side. And I got an amazing pastor and his wife Regina that's going to make sure. They're going to hold me accountable. If I'm doing wrong, I'm going to get a phone call. Matthew, what you doing? No, I'm not doing anything, brother. I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing. That's for sure. So, with that, I've told y'all everything. Told you everything. I've opened up completely. Like I said 2 weeks ago, I was very guarded because I've never done this before. This is actually the second time that I've done this. And it's like, whew, the feeling like you've done it. I'm there for each and every one of you. Just don't let my tattoos scare you off, because it's not who I am. I'm not the tattoo man. I'm not the white supremacist man. I'll be your best friend. And if I can help any one of y'all out, I'll be there for you, regardless. My wife will tell you I'm one of the most loyalist people that you ever meet in your life. With that, y'all have a blessed day, and I love y'all.
Wow. You see what God can do?